universe was never meant to last forever. It fractures when someone dares to reshape it. Order is not cruelty.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe has reached a point where every new announcement feels less like a simple sequel and more like a seismic shift in a constantly evolving saga. And Avengers: Doomsday stands at the center of that feeling. There is a sense that this film is not just another chapter but a pressure point, a moment where years of storytelling, experimentation, and risk-taking finally collide. The title alone carries an ominous weight, suggesting that what's coming is not a temporary crisis or a villain of the week scenario, but something absolute, something that threatens the very idea of continuity itself. In the MCU, Doomsday doesn't just mean destruction, it implies inevitability, the kind of catastrophe that cannot be avoided, only faced. That sense of inevitability is what separates this moment from everything that came before it, including the events that once felt unbeatable, like Thanos and the Infinity Stones. What makes Avengers: Doomsday feel especially significant is the context in which it arrives. The MCU has deliberately dismantled the sense of stability that once defined it. The Avengers, as a unified, familiar team, no longer exist in the way audiences once knew them. Leadership has changed, alliances are fractured, and the universe itself has become unstable thanks to repeated interference with time, reality, and dimensions. This instability isn't just a background detail, it's the foundation upon which Doomsday is built. The film feels positioned as the moment where the consequences of all that interference finally come due, where the universe demands payment for years of cosmic shortcuts and reality-bending solutions. The idea of escalation has always been central to Avengers films, but Doomsday suggests a different kind of escalation. Instead of simply raising the power level of the threat, it raises the philosophical stakes. The danger isn't just that the heroes might lose a battle, but that the concept of winning itself may no longer apply. This is a story that seems designed to challenge the traditional superhero framework, asking whether heroism still has meaning in a universe that is fundamentally broken. When the rules of reality can no longer be trusted, strength alone becomes meaningless, and even the most powerful heroes are reduced to making choices with incomplete information and devastating consequences. Much of the discussion surrounding Avengers: Doomsday naturally circles around the figure implied by its title, a presence that feels less like a single villain and more like a symbol of finality. The idea of Doctor Doom entering the MCU at this stage carries enormous narrative potential. Doom is not just powerful, he is ideological. He doesn't see himself as a monster or tyrant, but as a necessary force. Someone willing to make the hard choices others are too weak or sentimental to make. In a universe collapsing under the weight of infinite possibilities, Doom's philosophy becomes dangerously appealing. He represents order imposed through control, stability achieved through domination. That contrast between freedom and survival is the kind of thematic core that could drive the entire film. What makes this conflict compelling is that Doom doesn't need to convince the audience of his intelligence or power. His threat comes from his logic. In a multiverse where realities are colliding, timelines are unraveling, and existence itself feels temporary, Doom's argument carries weight. Why preserve a system that is clearly failing? Why protect infinite versions of worlds when their existence threatens everything else? These questions don't have easy answers, and that ambiguity opens the door for real division among the heroes. Avengers: Doomsday feels primed to explore the idea that the greatest danger isn't just an external enemy, but the internal fractures that emerge when heroes no longer agree on what they're fighting for. This internal conflict is amplified by the current state of the MCU's characters. The absence of the original Avengers has left a leadership vacuum that hasn't been fully resolved. Sam Wilson carries the shield and the responsibility that comes with it, but the world he's protecting is nothing like the one Steve Rogers knew. Carol Danvers operates on a cosmic scale, often detached from Earth's immediate struggles. Doctor Strange exists in a constant state of moral compromise, burdened by the knowledge of futures that never came to pass. Younger heroes bring hope and energy, but also inexperience and uncertainty. Avengers: Doomsday doesn't just test their abilities, it tests whether they can function as a coherent force at all. The multiverse itself becomes more than a setting in this story. It becomes a character. Its instability is a living, breathing threat, constantly reshaping the battlefield and forcing the heroes to adapt. Reality is no longer a fixed point but a shifting landscape, where cause and effect blur together. This creates an atmosphere of unease that permeates every interaction. When heroes can no longer trust the ground beneath their feet or the continuity of their own memories, every decision carries the risk of unintended consequences. The film seems poised to lean into that discomfort, using it to strip away the illusion of control that superheroes often rely on. Emotionally, Avengers: Doomsday has the potential to be one of the MCU's heaviest entries. The weight of accumulated loss hangs over the story. From the heroes who never made it out of previous battles to the relationships that have been strained or broken by years of conflict. This isn't a team at the height of its confidence. It's a group of survivors, each carrying scars that influence how they approach the crisis. That emotional baggage makes every sacrifice feel heavier, every failure more personal. When the threat is total annihilation, even small moments of hesitation or doubt can have catastrophic consequences. The scale of the action in Doomsday is expected to reflect this narrative ambition. Battles are no longer confined to cities or planets but stretch across realities, with heroes fighting in environments that defy logic and physics. The spectacle isn't just about size, it's about disorientation. The audience is meant to feel overwhelmed, just like the characters. As familiar landmarks dissolve into impossible shapes and timelines overlap in unpredictable ways, this visual chaos reinforces the idea that the universe is coming apart at the seams, and that even victory, if it comes, will leave behind something fundamentally altered at the same time. The film's most powerful moments are likely to come from quieter interactions, conversations held in the aftermath of destruction, arguments about what should have been done differently, confessions of fear and regret. These moments ground the story, reminding the audience that beneath the cosmic scale are individuals making impossibly human choices. The contrast between the enormity of the threat and the intimacy of these exchanges is what gives Avengers films their emotional resonance, and Doomsday seems poised to push that contrast further than ever before. One of the most intriguing possibilities is the way Doomsday might redefine what an Avengers victory looks like. In previous films, success often meant restoring balance or reversing damage, even if the cost was high. Here, the damage may be permanent. Entire realities could be lost. Characters may be changed beyond recognition, and the universe that emerges on the other side may not resemble the one audiences are familiar with. This sense of irreversible change gives the film a gravity that sets it apart, signaling that the MCU is willing to move forward without the safety net of easy resets. The legacy aspect of Avengers: Doomsday cannot be ignored. This is a film that seems designed to honor what came before while acknowledging that the future cannot simply replicate the past. The echoes of earlier Avengers moments will likely be felt throughout the story, not as nostalgia, but as reminders of how far the characters and the universe have come. Those echoes make the stakes feel earned, transforming Doomsday into a culmination rather than just another escalation. As the story builds toward its climax, the sense of inevitability intensifies, choices narrow, options disappear, and the heroes are forced to confront the possibility that there may be no version of events where everyone survives. This isn't just about defeating an enemy, it's about deciding what kind of universe is worth saving. That question lingers over every action, every alliance, every sacrifice. The tension doesn't come from wondering if the heroes will fight, but from wondering what they'll become in the process. By the time Avengers: Doomsday reaches its final moments, it feels less like the end of a single story and more like a transformation. Whatever remains after the dust settles will carry the imprint of everything that was lost, everything that was compromised, and everything that was chosen. The film's power lies in its willingness to embrace that complexity, to accept that heroism in a broken universe is messy, painful, and often unsatisfying. And yet, within that darkness, there is still the possibility of meaning, not in perfect endings, but in the act of standing against inevitability, even when the odds are impossible. Avengers: Doomsday represents the MCU at its most ambitious and introspective, a story that understands the weight of its own history and isn't afraid to challenge the audience's expectations. It's a film that doesn't just ask how the heroes will win, but why they should keep fighting at all. And in that question lies the true heart of Doomsday, a reminder that even at the edge of annihilation, the choices we make define us more than the outcomes we achieve.